Introduction. The universal memory. Imagine a story so traumatic, so world-changing, that it became embedded in the collective memory of every civilization on Earth. A story told in over 500 different cultures, across every continent, in languages that had no contact with each other. A story of giants, advanced technology, divine judgment, and a flood so massive it literally reshaped the planet. This isn't mythology. This isn't religious speculation. This is the most documented event in human history, preserved in the cultural DNA of our species for over 12,000 years. And now, modern archaeology is providing shocking physical evidence that this global catastrophe actually happened. Today we're going to explore the overwhelming evidence for the Great Flood. From the marine fossils, found at 29,000 feet on Mount Everest, to the impossible megalithic structures that could only have been built by beings of extraordinary strength and knowledge. We'll journey to Turkey's Göbekli Tepe, a 12,000-year-old temple complex that shouldn't exist according to conventional history, and to Lebanon's Baalbek, where stones weighing 1,650 tons were moved and positioned with precision that baffles modern engineers. But this isn't just about ancient history. The evidence we'll examine today suggests that our ancestors were far more advanced than we've been taught, that a sophisticated global civilization once existed, and that catastrophic events can reset human progress in ways that echo through millennia. From the oldest temple in the world to the largest stones ever moved by human hands, from genetic bottlenecks in human populations to the sudden appearance of agriculture and writing, the evidence points to one inescapable conclusion: our history books are incomplete, and the real story of human civilization is far more extraordinary than we've ever imagined. Chapter 1 to 500 Cultures. One memory. The sheer scale of global flood traditions is staggering. Over 500 cultures across South America, North America, Europe, Africa, India, and Mesopotamia have left records about a great flood, each preserving essentially the same story with remarkable consistency. Despite having no historical contact with each other, this isn't the result of cultural diffusion or borrowed stories. These are independent cultural memories preserved across vast distances and time periods. From the Babylonian epic of Gilgamesh to Native American traditions, from Australian Aboriginal stories to Scandinavian legends, the core elements remain consistent, the universal elements. A righteous man warned by divine revelation, a great vessel built to preserve life. Animals saved in pairs, or specific numbers, a global catastrophe destroying previous civilization. Divine promise never to repeat such destruction. Emergence on a mountain after waters recede. The Epic of Gilgamesh, often cited as the oldest version, actually represents a later mythologized account of much older oral traditions. The flood account wasn't originally written. It was oral tradition passed down, generation to generation, recorded much later by ancient civilizations like the Sumerians after the advent of writing. This explains why flood stories exist in over 800 cultures worldwide with remarkably similar elements. These are on copies of the Sumerian account. They all degraded memories of the same historical event, filtered through different languages and cultural contexts. Consider the geographical evidence. Marine animal fossils have been found on Mount Everest, at over 29,000 feet altitude. Marine fossils of whales and other sea creatures have been found on the peaks of the Andes Mountains. Marine animal fossils have been found in the Himalayas of Asia, and marine fossils have been found in the mountains of China. How do marine fossils end up on the world's highest peaks? The conventional explanation of geological uplift over millions of years doesn't account for the global distribution and the fact that these fossils often appear in layers suggesting rapid, catastrophic deposition rather than gradual accumulation. The sedimentary evidence is equally compelling. Line of marine sediments extends for approximately 800 kilometers at around 10,000 feet altitude. What force could deposit marine sediments across such vast areas at such elevations? The only logical explanation is water coverage of unprecedented scale. Even more intriguing is the biblical reference that suggests the world's topography was different before the flood. The mountains rose. The valleys sank down to the place which you established for them. You set a boundary that they may not pass over, so that they will not again cover the earth. Psalm 104 8-9. This suggests that post-flood geological changes created the current mountain heights. which would explain how water could cover what are now the world's highest peaks. The consistency of these cultural memories, combined with the physical evidence, creates a compelling case that something extraordinary happened to disrupt human civilization on a global scale approximately 12,000 years ago. Chapter 2. Göbekli Tepe, the game changer in 1994. On a rural mountain in Turkey, a Kurdish farmer's plow struck something unexpected, a massive rectangular stone buried in the earth. What followed was one of the most significant archaeological discoveries of our time, Göbekli Tepe, dating back 11,000 years, almost 5,000 years older than any comparable site. Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and represents humanity's first cathedral on a hill. But this discovery did more than just push back the timeline of human achievement. It shattered our understanding of prehistoric civilization entirely. The site consists of massive megalithic enclosures with T-shaped pillars weighing 15 to 20 tons each, some reaching 40 to 60 tons. These aren't crude stone arrangements, but sophisticated structures, featuring intricate animal carvings including wild boars, foxes, lions, gazelles, snakes, and various birds, many not native to the region. What makes Göbekli Tepe truly revolutionary is what it represents. The builders were prehistoric people who had not yet developed metal tools or even pottery. Yet they created massive carved stones about 11,000 years old, crafted and arranged by people who supposedly should not have had the organization, resources, or time to construct temples. This challenges everything we thought we knew about human development. The conventional narrative suggests that complex societies emerged only after agriculture allowed surplus food production, which then enabled specialization in monumental construction. Göbekli Tepe turns this narrative upside down. The planning and execution required conceptualizing basic geometric ideas and methods such as circle, center, and compass arm with accuracy that seems impossible for hunter-gatherers. Recent analysis using standard deviation mapping revealed that the builders possessed sophisticated mathematical knowledge for creating precise geometric layouts. Even more mysterious is the site's deliberate abandonment and burial. Around 8000 BC, the entire complex was intentionally buried under tons of earth containing scattered human bones. This was unnatural erosion or accidental coverage. Someone made a conscious decision to hide this extraordinary achievement. Why would ancient people bury their greatest architectural accomplishment? Some researchers believe it was buried due to flood damage, with geological evidence suggesting burial by flood mud rather than intentional human action. The astronomical alignments at Göbekli Tepe suggest the builders possessed advanced knowledge of celestial mechanics. The animal symbols at the site appear to encode astronomical information, possibly representing constellations and recording cosmic events. This level of astronomical sophistication supposedly didn't develop for thousands of years after Göbekli Tepe's construction. Perhaps most intriguingly, Göbekli Tepe sits just hundreds of kilometers from Mount Everest, where biblical tradition places Noah's Ark after the flood. The timing is remarkable. The site was abandoned around 8000 BCE, which corresponds to various estimates for the timing of the global flood event. When we examine the animals carved at Göbekli Tepe, cannot explain why some were incorporated there. Many animals don't have local significance, raising the question of where they came from. Could these be the animals from Noah's Ark? The implications are staggering. If Göbekli Tepe was built by survivors of a global catastrophe, it would explain the sudden appearance of advanced knowledge, the astronomical alignments recording celestial events, and the eventual burial of the site. It represents not the beginning of civilization, but evidence of civilization's reconstruction after a worldwide reset. Chapter 3. The Giant Builders. Evidence from around the world. The construction of megalithic sites like Göbekli Tepe raises an obvious question. Who had the physical capability to move and position stones weighing tens of tons with precision that rivals modern engineering? Ancient texts from around the world provide a consistent answer. Giants. The Bible expressly informs us that even after the flood, there were still entire cities of giants in Canaan until the time of Moses. Moses sent scouts to investigate the land, and they reported that the giants were so large that the Hebrews seemed like grasshoppers in comparison. This isn't isolated to biblical accounts. Jewish chronicler Josephus affirms that even in his day, it was not uncommon for people to dig and discover remains of giant skeletons. Archaeological evidence supports these historical claims, though much of it has been suppressed or explained away by conventional archaeology. Global giant traditions. Tritons of Greek mythology, a race of giant gods generated by the crossbreeding of Poseidon with a mortal woman named Cleito. In some versions, they are part fish and part human, and some escaped the flood that destroyed Atlantis. Titans of Greek mythology, a race of giants born of Uranus and Gaia, clearly a later retelling of the Triton saga. Atlas was so large and strong that he was often represented holding the earth on his shoulders. Viracocha of South American traditions, a giant white god who appeared to South American natives and founded their civilizations. According to their folklore, he came by boat when his homeland was destroyed by a great flood. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, was the principal divinity of Central American culture. In Mayan mythology, he traveled in a flying boat and established civilization after escaping destruction by flood. The Anunnaki, a race of Sumerian god-kings. Anunnaki is a royal title meaning the Shining Ones. They were clearly depicted as men of giant stature, frequently shown taller than court members even when seated on thrones. Celtic giants. The Tuatha De Danann were a race of Celtic giants who lived in underground kingdoms beneath hollow mountains. One of their principal deities was Lo, whose name transmits as the Shining Ones, revealing a connection to the Sumerian Anunnaki. The pattern is unmistakable. Across every continent, ancient cultures preserved memories of giant beings who possessed advanced knowledge and construction capabilities. These weren't mythological figures, but historical memories of real populations. Physical evidence. The megalithic structures themselves provide the strongest evidence for giant builders. Consider Baalbek in Lebanon, where stones weighing up to 1,650 tons were quarried, transported, and positioned with precision. Modern cranes cannot lift stones of this size. Yet ancient builders not only moved them, but placed them 20 feet above ground level with perfect precision. Archaeological suppression. King Henry II, inspired by stories that Arthur had been buried at Glastonbury, sent a team to excavate the area. At a depth of 2.7 meters, they found a lead plaque with inscriptions stating, "Here lies the body of King Arthur." 16 meters below was a stone sarcophagus containing bones of a man nearly 3 meters tall. Similar discoveries have been reported worldwide, but are often dismissed, stored away, or explained as anomalies. The systematic suppression of giant skeletal evidence suggests institutional resistance to acknowledging the reality of these ancient populations. Genetic evidence. Recent genetic studies have revealed population bottlenecks in both human and animal lineages, dating to approximately the same period as the global flood accounts. These bottlenecks suggest catastrophic population reductions, followed by rapid expansion from small surviving groups. The giant bloodlines appear to have survived the flood through specific family lines, as indicated by biblical genealogies that traced giant populations back to Noah's descendants through Ham, and specifically through Canaan. This genetic survival explains the continued appearance of giant individuals and populations throughout ancient history. Chapter 4. Baalbek. Impossible engineering. If Göbekli Tepe challenges our understanding of prehistoric capabilities, Baalbek demolishes it entirely. Located in Lebanon's Bekaa Valley, Baalbek houses the largest worked stone blocks ever moved by human hands. With the recently discovered Forgotten Stone, weighing an estimated 1,650 tons. To put this in perspective, the most powerful modern cranes cannot lift stones of this size. Yet ancient builders not only moved these megaliths, but positioned them with precision as part of massive construction projects. The trilithon, the famous trilithon, consists of 3 horizontally positioned stones, each weighing 750 to 800 tons, forming part of the podium wall in the Roman Temple of Jupiter Ball complex. These stones are positioned 20 feet above ground level and are perfectly fitted together. The quarry stones. Even more impressive are the stones that never made it to the temple complex. Stone of the Pregnant Woman weighs approximately 1,000 tons and measures 20.76 by 4 by 4.32 meters stone of the South. Discovered in the 1990s, weighs 1,242 tons. The Forgotten Stone, discovered in 2014, weighs an estimated 1,650 tons, making it the largest known megalith ever quarried. Engineering impossibilities. Mark Twain, upon visiting Baalbek, wrote, "Such grandeur of design, such grace of execution as one sees in the temples of Baalbek, have not been equaled or even approached in any work of men's hands that has been built within 20 centuries. A race of gods or of giants must have inhabited Baalbek many a century ago. Men like the men of our day could hardly rear such temples as these." Modern engineering analysis confirms Twain's intuition. Calculations show it would require 40,000 men to move just one megalithic block from the quarry to the temple site. This assumes perfect coordination, unlimited workforce, and engineering techniques that supposedly didn't exist in the ancient world. Pre-Roman construction. Evidence clearly shows two distinct building periods at Baalbek: megalithic construction at the foundation level and Roman stonework above, suggesting thousands of years between construction phases. The Romans built their temple complex on top of a much older megalithic platform that they could not have constructed with their available technology. Historical accounts. Ancient Middle Eastern records state that Baalbek's fortress is the oldest building in the world. According to some accounts, Cain, son of Adam, built it in year 133 of creation during a fit of delirious madness, naming it after his son Enoch, and populating the temple with giants who were punished for their iniquities in the flood. While this may sound mythological, it contains elements that align with other evidence: construction by beings of extraordinary size and strength, association with pre-flood civilization, and destruction by catastrophic flooding. The giant connection. Local legends argue that giants built the temples under the command of Nimrod, that the structure was called the Tower of Babel. Some say the structure was built to hide from the wrath of God. The biblical connection is significant. Baalbek appears in the Bible under the name Baalath, town refortified by Israel's King Solomon around 970 BC, confirming its ancient importance and strategic value. The Bible also refers to this area as being inhabited by giants. Construction techniques. The quarry was situated slightly higher than the temple complex, so no vertical lifting was required to move the stones. However, horizontal transport of 1,000-ton stones over 900 meters remains an engineering impossibility using known ancient techniques. Various theories have been proposed: rollers, ramps, lever systems, but none adequately explain how stones of this size could be moved and positioned with such precision. Author Graham Hancock notes that if the Romans had built the site, it would have broken up the quarry stones into smaller, manageable pieces rather than attempting to move impossible weights. The only logical explanation aligns with historical accounts. Baalbek was constructed by beings of extraordinary physical capability, giants whose strength and engineering knowledge far exceeded normal human limitations. Chapter 5. Global Megalithic Evidence. Baalbek and Göbekli Tepe aren't isolated anomalies. Across the globe, we find megalithic structures that demonstrate engineering capabilities far beyond what conventional history attributes to ancient peoples. These sites share common characteristics: massive stone blocks, precision fitting, and construction techniques that remain mysterious. Peru. High in the Andes Mountains sits a fortress built with polygonal limestone blocks weighing up to 200 tons, fitted together so precisely that a knife blade cannot be inserted between them. The stones are cut and shaped with complex angles that required advanced mathematical knowledge and precision tools that supposedly did exist in pre-Columbian America. Easter Island Moai. The famous statues of Easter Island aren't just impressive for their size, but for their transportation. Recent research has revealed that some moai weigh up to 80 tons and were somehow moved across the island and positioned on ceremonial platforms. Local legends speak of giants who walked the statues into place, and recent experiments have shown that the statues could indeed be walked upright, but only by beings with extraordinary strength and coordination. Stonehenge, England. While much smaller than Baalbek's megaliths, Stonehenge's sarsen stones weigh up to 50 tons and were transported from quarries 25 miles away. The precision of the astronomical alignments and the engineering required to position the trilithons demonstrate advanced knowledge of geometry, astronomy, and construction techniques. Pumapunku, Bolivia, at 12,800 feet. Above sea level sits one of the most precisely constructed stone complexes in the world. The andesite and diorite blocks are cut with such precision that they appear machine-made. The complexity of the interlocking joints and the precision of the cuts suggests technology far advanced beyond what we attribute to ancient Bolivian cultures. The pattern. These sites share remarkable similarities. Massive stone blocks requiring extraordinary strength to move, precision cutting and fitting that challenges modern capabilities, advanced astronomical alignments indicating sophisticated knowledge, local legends of giant builders or supernatural construction, evidence of catastrophic damage or abandonment in Arctic discoveries. Recent satellite imagery has revealed pyramid-like structures emerging from Antarctica's melting ice. These structures appear to be artificial, with geometric shapes and alignments that suggest intelligent design rather than natural formation. If confirmed as artificial structures, Antarctic pyramids would revolutionize our understanding of ancient civilization. Some researchers propose that these could be remnants of a pre-flood civilization preserved under ice for thousands of years. The construction challenge. The fundamental question remains: how were these structures built? Modern engineering analysis consistently concludes that the construction techniques and physical requirements exceed the capabilities attributed to ancient peoples. The stones are too heavy, the precision too exact, the knowledge too advanced. The only explanations that adequately address the evidence are advanced technology that has been lost to history builders with physical capabilities far exceeding normal humans, both advanced technology and extraordinary physical strength. Ancient texts consistently point to the second and third options. Giant builders with advanced knowledge who possessed both the physical strength and technical expertise to accomplish these seemingly impossible feats. Chapter 6. The Astronomical Connection 1. Of the most compelling aspects of ancient megalithic sites is their sophisticated astronomical alignments. These alignments demonstrate knowledge of celestial mechanics that supposedly wasn't developed until thousands of years later, suggesting that the builders possessed advanced understanding of astronomy and mathematics. Göbekli Tepe's stellar map. Analysis of the animal carvings at Göbekli Tepe reveals that they may represent constellations and astronomical events. The builders appear to have encoded complex astronomical information in stone. Recent research has identified potential connections between the site's layout and the precession of the equinoxes. A 26,000-year astronomical cycle that requires sophisticated long-term observation to detect. The builders of Göbekli Tepe may have been tracking stellar positions across millennia. Baalbek's solar alignment. Baalbek's temple complex is precisely aligned with solar and stellar events. The name Heliopolis, City of the Sun, reflects the site's solar connections. And the massive platform appears designed to track specific celestial phenomena across the year. Global pattern. Similar astronomical sophistication appears at megalithic sites worldwide. Stonehenge. Precise alignments with solstices and lunar cycles. Pyramids of Giza. Alignment with Orion constellation and stellar events. Angkor Wat reflects the constellation Draco in its layout. Machu Picchu. Multiple astronomical alignments with solar and stellar events. The knowledge problem. This astronomical sophistication presents a significant historical problem, according to conventional timelines. The mathematical and observational tools necessary for such precise calculations were undeveloped until the classical period or later. Yet megalithic sites demonstrate this knowledge thousands of years earlier. Post-flood reconstruction. The astronomical focus of these sites supports the theory that they were built by survivors of a global catastrophe who possessed advanced knowledge from a previous civilization. The precise tracking of celestial events would be crucial for survivors trying to re-establish agricultural cycles, navigation systems, and calendar keeping after a worldwide reset. The builders may have been encoding astronomical information as a way to preserve crucial knowledge for future generations, ensuring that essential understanding wouldn't be lost again in case of another catastrophe. Chapter 7. The Flood Timeline and Physical Evidence. The convergence of archaeological, geological, and cultural evidence points to a specific time frame for the global flood event. Multiple lines of evidence suggest a catastrophic period approximately 12,000 to 11,000 years ago that fundamentally altered human civilization and the planet's surface? Climate and geological evidence. Geological studies have revealed that Earth's climate changed drastically immediately after the flood, just as affirms that the Ice Age emerged right after the waters receded. Ice core data shows dramatic climate shifts during this period, including sudden temperature drops and massive atmospheric changes. Fossil records dating from the Ice Age indicate that gigantic animals, now extinct, coexisted with humans during this period, and among them many of the animals we now know as dinosaurs. The sudden extinction of megafauna worldwide corresponds to the flood timeline and suggests a catastrophic event that disrupted global ecosystems. The Younger Dryas event. Modern climate science has identified the Younger Dryas period, approximately 12,900 to 11,700 years ago, as a time of dramatic global climate change. This period saw sudden return to Ice Age conditions, massive flooding from melting ice sheets, extinction of numerous large animal species, dramatic changes in human settlement patterns. The timing of the Younger Dryas aligns perfectly with flood traditions and the archaeological evidence from sites like Göbekli Tepe, Comet. Impact theory. Recent research has identified evidence for a cosmic impact event during the Younger Dryas period. Multiple impact sites across North America and Europe show evidence of asteroid or comet fragments striking Earth around 12,900 years ago. Such impacts could have triggered the massive flooding described in global traditions. Sedimentary evidence. A line of marine sediments extends for approximately 800 kilometers at around 10,000 feet altitude. This sediment layer provides physical evidence of massive water coverage at elevations that would require a global flood event. The sediment composition includes marine organisms mixed with terrestrial materials, suggesting rapid, catastrophic deposition rather than gradual accumulation over geological time. Geographic changes. Biblical passages suggest that mountain heights changed after the flood. The mountains rose. The valleys sank down to the place which you established for them. Psalm 104 8-9. This indicates that current topography resulted from post-flood geological adjustments. Modern geological evidence supports rapid topographical changes during the post-glacial period, including rapid uplift of mountain ranges, formation of new valleys and waterways, massive landslides and geological instability, dramatic changes in sea levels. Archaeological timeline. The archaeological record shows a clear break in human development around 11,000 to 12,000 years ago. Sudden appearance of sophisticated construction techniques, rapid development of agriculture from wild varieties, emergence of complex religious and astronomical knowledge, development of written language systems, advanced mathematical and engineering capabilities. This timeline suggests that rather than gradual human development, there was a sudden injection of advanced knowledge, consistent with survivors of an advanced civilization re-establishing technology after a global catastrophe. Population genetics. Genetic studies reveal population bottlenecks in both human and animal species dating to approximately the same period. These bottlenecks indicate severe population reductions followed by rapid expansion from small surviving groups, exactly what we would expect from a global catastrophic event followed by repopulation. The genetic evidence shows that modern human populations descend from remarkably small founding groups, suggesting that most of humanity was wiped out during this period, with only small numbers surviving to repopulate the Earth. Chapter 8. The Serpent Symbolism in Ancient Knowledge. One of the most intriguing aspects of post-flood civilizations is the universal appearance of serpent symbolism in worship. From South America to Asia, from Europe to Africa, ancient cultures developed elaborate, serpent-based, religious systems that seem to encode memories of pre-flood knowledge and beings. Global serpent traditions. Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent. Central American cultures worshipped Quetzalcoatl as their primary deity. According to mythology, he traveled in a flying boat and brought civilization after escaping destruction by flood. The Temple Pyramid of the Sun in Mexico uses the same unit of measurement as the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, suggesting connected knowledge systems. South American serpent people. According to chronicles, a mysterious serpent people arrived in boats that shined like the scales of serpent skin and wore strange clothing with snakes intertwined in their garments as emblems. They established cities and taught advanced knowledge to local populations. Asian Naga traditions. In India, an entire day is reserved for honoring snakes, known as Naga Panchami. Hindu culture teaches that the human body has energy centers called chakras, the primary energy called kundalini, known as the power of the serpent. This serpent energy is said to rise through the spine, awakening higher consciousness. European dragon legends. Medieval European traditions are filled with accounts of dragons, serpentine creatures of great intelligence and power. These weren't purely mythological, but may represent cultural memories of actual reptilian beings from the ancient world. The serpent-brain connection. Modern neuroscience recognizes that the human brain still maintains a reptilian brain, considered a throwback to our evolutionary past. However, this may actually be evidence of genetic interaction with reptilian intelligences in humanity's distant past. The Garden of Eden narrative, where human memory is connected to the serpent, may be a metaphorical representation of this ancient connection between human consciousness and serpentine wisdom. Advanced knowledge systems. The serpent symbolism appears consistently associated with advanced astronomical knowledge, mathematical and geometric understanding, metallurgy and construction techniques, agricultural and botanical knowledge, written language systems. This suggests that the serpent people, or reptilian beings, possessed and transmitted advanced knowledge to human populations after the flood. Genetic memory. The universal appearance of serpent worship and symbolism across isolated cultures suggests that these were on independent developments, but shared memories of actual encounters with reptilian beings, who possessed advanced knowledge and technology. Chapter 9. Antarctica and the Ice Connection. Recent discoveries in Antarctica have added a new dimension to our understanding of ancient civilizations and the global flood event. As ice sheets melt, structures are emerging that challenge everything we thought we knew about prehistoric human capabilities and global geography. Antarctic pyramids. Satellite imagery has revealed pyramid-like structures emerging from Antarctica's melting ice. These formations show geometric precision and alignment that strongly suggest artificial construction rather than natural formation. If confirmed as human-made, these would be among the oldest structures on Earth. The pyramids appear to be perfectly aligned with cardinal directions and show mathematical proportions similar to pyramids found in Egypt and Central America. This suggests either remarkable coincidence or connection to a global civilization that once spanned continents. Most geologists believe Antarctica has been completely frozen for over 12 million years. However, the emergence of these structures suggests that Antarctica may have been ice-free, much more recently than previously thought, possibly within the time frame of human civilization. Ancient maps, including the Peary Race map of 1513, show Antarctica with accurate coastlines that are currently hidden under ice. This suggests that either the ice coverage is more recent than believed, or that ancient civilizations possessed mapping knowledge of Antarctica before it froze. Flood connection. If Antarctica was ice-free or partially ice-free 12,000 years ago, the sudden freezing of such a massive landmass could have triggered dramatic global climate changes. The rapid formation of ice sheets could have displaced enormous amounts of ocean water, contributing to the global flooding recorded in ancient traditions. The timeline aligns perfectly. If a cosmic impact or other catastrophic event triggered rapid climate change around 12,900 years ago, Antarctica could have frozen rapidly, displacing ocean water and causing the global flood, while simultaneously preserving evidence of pre-flood civilization under ice. Technological implications. The precision and scale of Antarctic structures suggest construction capabilities that match or exceed other megalithic sites worldwide. This implies a truly global civilization with standardized knowledge and construction techniques. If these structures are confirmed as artificial and date to the pre-flood period, they would represent the ultimate proof of an advanced global civilization that was destroyed by the catastrophic events recorded in flood traditions worldwide. Chapter 10. The cover-up and suppression throughout this investigation. We've encountered a disturbing pattern. Evidence that challenges conventional historical narratives is often suppressed, explained away, or simply ignored by mainstream academia. This suppression appears deliberate and systematic. Giant skeletal evidence. Hundreds of newspaper reports from the 19th and early 20th centuries document discoveries of giant human skeletons throughout North America and other continents. These discoveries were often made by reputable archaeologists and reported in mainstream newspapers. However, most of these skeletal remains have mysteriously disappeared from museum collections. The Smithsonian Institution and other major museums claim no knowledge of giant skeletons in their collections. Despite documented evidence of acquisitions, this has led to speculation about deliberate suppression of evidence that contradicts evolutionary and historical timelines. Archaeological site restrictions. Many of the world's most significant megalithic sites have restricted access that prevents independent research. Göbekli Tepe, for example, has been described by some researchers as being under the control of organizations that limit excavation and research, despite the site's obvious importance. Only about 5% of Göbekli Tepe has been excavated despite nearly 30 years of work. Given the site's revolutionary importance, the slow pace of excavation raises questions about whether there's deliberate limitation of discoveries that might further challenge conventional narratives. Academic resistance. The academic establishment has significant institutional investment in current historical and evolutionary narratives. Discoveries that challenge these narratives face tremendous resistance, regardless of the quality of evidence. Researchers who pursue alternative theories about human prehistory often find their careers threatened, their funding cut, and their work marginalized. This creates a self-reinforcing system where only acceptable discoveries receive attention and support. The control of information. Modern information systems allow for unprecedented control over what research reaches public attention. Search algorithms, academic gatekeeping, and media filtering ensure that challenging discoveries remain marginalized while conventional narratives are amplified. This isn't necessarily coordinated conspiracy, but rather systemic bias that protects established institutions and narratives from disruptive evidence. Why suppression matters. The suppression of evidence about human prehistory has profound implications. It limits our understanding of human capabilities and potential. It restricts our knowledge of past, catastrophic events that could recur. It prevents us from learning from advanced ancient technologies. It maintains false narratives about human development and history. The evidence we've examined today exists despite these suppression efforts, suggesting that the true scope of ancient human achievement is even greater than what we've been able to document. Chapter 11. Modern Implications and Future Discoveries. The evidence for a global flood and advanced ancient civilizations is unedited, just historical curiosity. It has profound implications for our understanding of human potential, catastrophic risks, and the future of our civilization. Catastrophic cycle awareness. If global catastrophes have reset human civilization in the past, they could happen again. Understanding the mechanisms and timing of past events could help us prepare for future threats. The 12,000-year cycle suggested by ice core data and geological evidence may indicate recurring patterns of cosmic impacts or other catastrophic events. Advanced warning and preparation could mean the difference between civilization survival and another devastating reset. Technology recovery. Evidence suggests that ancient civilizations possess technologies that were lost during catastrophic periods. Understanding these technologies could accelerate modern development in areas like construction and engineering techniques, astronomical observation and calculation, agricultural and botanical knowledge, energy systems, and mathematics. Some researchers suggest that certain modern discoveries are actually a recovery of ancient knowledge rather than completely new innovations. Human potential. The existence of giant populations in the past raises questions about human genetic potential. If environmental factors, genetic mixing, or other influences once produced humans of extraordinary size and capability, could such traits be recovered or enhanced? Understanding the full scope of human genetic history could inform medical research, genetic therapy, and human enhancement technologies. Archaeological revolution. Emerging technologies are revolutionizing archaeological discovery. Ground-penetrating radar reveals buried structures without excavation. Satellite imagery identifies sites invisible at ground level. Genetic analysis provides new insights into ancient populations. Dating techniques are becoming more precise and reliable. These technologies are accelerating the pace of discovery and making it harder to suppress or ignore challenging evidence. The changing narrative. Public interest in alternative history and ancient mysteries is driving demand for more thorough investigation of sites like Göbekli Tepe, Baalbek, and other megalithic complexes. Social media and independent research platforms are making it easier for evidence to reach public attention. Bypassing traditional gatekeeping mechanisms, the accumulation of evidence from multiple sources and disciplines is creating a critical mass that may force revision of conventional historical narratives. Conclusion: rewriting human history. The evidence we've examined today paints a picture of human prehistory that is radically different from what we've been taught. Over 500 cultures worldwide preserve memories of a global flood that destroyed an advanced civilization. Archaeological sites like Göbekli Tepe demonstrate sophisticated knowledge and construction, capabilities that predate conventional timelines by thousands of years. Megalithic structures like Baalbek require engineering capabilities that we can barely match today. The geological evidence is undeniable. Marine fossils on the world's highest mountains, sediment layers covering vast areas at impossible elevations, and dramatic climate changes that occurred exactly when ancient traditions say the flood happened. The cultural evidence is overwhelming. Flood traditions so consistent across isolated civilizations that they can only represent memories of the same historical event, preserved in the collective consciousness of our species for over 12,000 years. The archaeological evidence is revolutionary. Sites that shouldn't exist according to conventional history, construction techniques that challenge our understanding of ancient capabilities, and astronomical knowledge that supposedly wasn't developed for millennia after it was already being used. But perhaps most importantly, the suppression of this evidence reveals the extent to which established institutions will go to protect narratives that serve their interests. Regardless of truth or scientific integrity, the real story of human civilization is far more extraordinary than we've been allowed to know. We are not the first advanced civilization on this planet. We are not the first to develop sophisticated technology, global communication systems, or the ability to move massive stones with precision. We are the latest iteration of human civilization, building on the accumulated knowledge and occasional discoveries from previous iterations that were reset by global catastrophes. The giants, the flood, the advanced ancient knowledge. These aren't myths or religious stories. They're historical memories preserved by survivors and passed down through generations. Understanding this history doesn't diminish human achievement, it reveals the true scope of human potential. If our ancestors could build Göbekli Tepe 12,000 years ago, move 1,650-ton stones at Baalbek, and encode sophisticated astronomical knowledge in stone monuments worldwide, what could we accomplish if we recovered their full knowledge? The evidence is there for anyone willing to examine it objectively. The question isn't whether an advanced civilization was destroyed by a global flood. The question is what we'll do with this knowledge, now that we're rediscovering it. Will we learn from the past to prepare for future catastrophes? Will we recover lost technologies to accelerate human development? Will we acknowledge the full scope of human potential and capability? Or will we continue to limit ourselves to narratives that diminish our understanding of what humans have achieved and what we might achieve again? The choice is ours. The evidence is clear. The time for denial is over. The true history of humanity is more magnificent, more mysterious, and more important than we ever imagined. And we're just beginning to uncover its secrets. The story continues. The discoveries continue. Perhaps most importantly, human potential continues to unfold. The giants may be gone, but their legacy lives on in the monuments they left behind and the knowledge they encoded in stone. We are the heirs of an extraordinary past. What we do with that inheritance will determine the future of human civilization.